Hello and welcome to Escape from Mount Backlog, one man's quest to defeat his game's library. Today we'll be looking at MAIZE, a first-person adventure game developed by Finish Line Games, a Canadian independent studio working out of Toronto. MAIZE, also known as corn, is a large grain plant first domesticated by the indigenous peoples of southern Mexico about 10,000... Wait, that's the wrong script. Shit. MAIZE is a first-person adventure game. These have become quite common these days. It's in the vein of classic LucasArts and Sierra games, filled with beautiful locations, sight gags, and looping paths where you'll happen upon a puzzle, only to be able to solve it much later. Corn is a cereal crop that is part of the grass family. MAIZE takes place on an abandoned farm, which hides an underground research facility that was experimenting on crops above. For fear of spoilers, the gameplay here will only be of the farm, but needless to say, the experiments went awry, as they do in these types of games. The story, according to the developers, is inspired by Monty Python, which I completely get, and the funnier episodes of The X-Files. An ear or cob of corn is actually part of the flower, and an individual kernel is a seed. Like in most adventure games, progression is made by solving environmental puzzles to unlock new areas. As an example, find an empty basin, put in the plug, fill it with oil, drop in a gloved, severed hand to slip said hand free from the glove, then use that hand for a biometric scanner to open the door. Good, clean, wholesome fun. Corn will always have an even number of rows on each cob. Damn it, how are these corn facts slipping into the script? The game is pretty gorgeous in a 20th century American art kind of way. Think Grant Wood's American Gothic painting. You know, this one. The farm itself strives for a realistic Midwestern look. Its warm, auburn tones help to sell the illusion of an abandoned farm, whereas the research station below is more inspired by 50s era sci-fi. Think The Day the Earth Stood Still or Fallout, I guess? Okay, I lied. This here is what the research facility looks like. Still, no story spoilers. With the exception of Antarctica, corn is produced on every continent in the world. When you reach the facility, you awaken an AI buddy, a Russian teddy bear who's basically a walking communism meme, constantly insulting you in a thick Russian accent. He sounds like a love child between Ivan Drago and Nikolai Jakov. You can hear that he would be drinking vodka constantly if it were available. Juices and soft drinks like Coca-Cola and Pepsi contain corn sweeteners. A bushel of corn can sweeten 400 cans of soft drink. I have to mention the writing. The dialogue and item descriptions are all written with a wry sense of humor, which is very important to this genre. Adventure games live or die on the strength of their writing. Would Monkey Island be as beloved without its sense of humor? Would Day of the Tentacle? Writing is the reason that these games are more fondly remembered than, say, I don't know, Phantasmagoria? And when the first item, an English muffin, is described as hard as granite, this muffin is most definitely nowhere near fit for consumption, despite how much you try. All you've done is given yourself a headache. This tells you two things. One, this will be a funny game. And two, at some point in the game, that rock-hard muffin will be a pivotal item. The puzzles themselves aren't really hard or taxing on the brain. Most can be solved by employing real logic, as opposed to moon logic which fueled most 90s adventure games. Corn and its byproducts are also found in many non-food items, such as fireworks, rust preventatives, glues, paints, dyes, laundry detergent, soap, aspirin, antibiotics, paint, shoe polish, ink, cosmetics, the manufacture of photographic film, and in the production of plastics. Moon logic puzzles are those that defy all logic or reason, save that of the designer at the time. Made most famous by the first lady of adventure games, Roberta Williams. Need an example? Okay, picture this. In the first King's Quest, there's a puzzle where you have to guess a gnome's name. Now, obviously, this was a Rumpelstiltskin situation. Rumpelstiltskin, being the obvious answer, makes the trick to give it to him backwards, as in I'm going to put it up on screen. But that's not it. Foolish mortal. Obviously, Williams decided that backwards means to turn the alphabet backwards. So the real answer is on screen. I can't pronounce it. There are over 3,500 different uses for corn products. While I won't spoil the story, let's just say it goes full Nelson on the absurdity. Honestly, you've just got to play it. I can wholeheartedly recommend MAIZE because it's a fun 3 to 4 hour adventure and, on average, an ear of corn has 800 kernels in 16 rows. And it's available on Steam for $20 or your regional equivalent at the time of publishing. Also, the Steam summer sale is coming. And that'll just about wrap up this episode of Escape from Mount Backlog. Have you played MAIZE? Go buy it, go play it, it's fun. Anyway guys, we are getting closer and closer to 50 subscribers. If we hit that milestone, as said in a previous video, I'll run a poll and let you guys decide what the next game will be. And as always, like this video, share it, check out the Twitter, the Facebook, and subscribe if you haven't already if you're new. If you're not new, if you're returning, welcome back. Tune in next week when we look at something a little bit darker in subject.